Hey, Josh from the Elevate Podcast here. Hope you're doing well. Dalton and I want to kind of let you guys know we are getting into another endeavor. We are jumping into selling some stickers. You know, stickers. Pretty much any of the one-liners we have, and we've kind of put them into physical form. So you want to throw them on a stop sign, your computer, your mom, whatever it is you're doing. You can go over to shop.elevatepodcast.ca and just hit the link below and you can purchase now. We love you. Check you on the flip side. Enjoy the show.
Innovation is in our veins. Soon the whole world will know our names. Sharing our knowledge and freedom reign. We here for the people, you know it's our way. Setting foundations is part of the dream. It doesn't matter if you're new to the game. Listen up now, cause we all gon' say, elevate, 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 higher, elevate, 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 higher. We gon' rise up. We all gon' shine, work through adversity, stay on the grind. Elevate, elevate, this is our time. Elevate, elevate.
Welcome to the Elevate Podcast, everyone. It's so great to have you all on one more time. It's your boy, Josh.
Dalton.
And we're grateful to be back on with you yet again. And for those who dealt with some issues with the hurricane, we hope you are safe and that you are all taken care of. And that hopefully by now, I guess it would be about 8 days removed, that you have your power back. You're getting stuff figured out. The trees have been chopped down. They need to be chopped down. And ultimately that you and your loved ones ultimately are safe. We really do. From here at the Elevate Podcast, we do wish you all a speedy recovery and comeback from this.
Absolutely. I have been questioning the priority in which certain areas are prioritized after this. It's been interesting to see.
Yeah, it has been interesting, hasn't it been?
Yeah.
I think we were talking about it after everything kind of came back online. We were chatting, and I was curious. I was like, I'm curious behind the scenes. How do things like this get prioritized in terms of who gets power back first?
Yeah.
Who gets the teams deployed first? Is it based on concentration of population? Is it about property taxes and how much you're paying? I'm curious.
Demographic. Why we don't hold back? It's truth.
You think so?
Why not?
Yeah, let's throw it in there.
Who knows?
Yeah, you never know. Yeah,
Stranger things have happened.
You're right. Anything's on the table. You're right. So there you go. What is it?
Because there's a street that I know of someone who lives on the street, and there's a seniors complex on the street, and it's like a family street. So there's like kids of all ages, newborn to like high school kids. There's a tree slammed, like a big old Halifax tree right across the road with wires going through it. Residents have taken to like driving over the sidewalk on people's lawns to just get around it. Everyone's and it's a cul-de-sac.
Oh, wow.
It's called, you cannot get out. And at the end of it is a seniors complex. An ambulance can't get in. People can't get out. In the middle of Halifax.
Weird.
Very strange. Why that's not really been dealt with. And we've been forbade to touch the trees on our own.
Oh, have it? That's been a thing?
Oh, yeah. HRM and Nova Scotia Power said do not, especially if there's live wires around it. I get that. Mm-hmm. But like if the tree just fell, they're being told to not touch them. Like, why?
Right. We'll deal with it. Let the experts deal with it. I get it. It was funny. I was really proud of my wife because she was like, you know what, Josh? Because she loves listening to the Todd Vino show. She loves that show. And so the day after, everything went after the hurricane, essentially.
Yeah.
So listen to everyone calling in, and everyone was just complaining about the response from Nova Scotia Power, the response from the government, this, that, the other. There was one person who got on who was like, what's going to happen to our elderly? Is no one going to help them? Like my mother, she's older and she doesn't have her tree down and no one's here to help her. What do you expect her to do? This, that, the other. Kelsey's response, my beautiful, very left-leaning wife says, Josh, I think you're onto something. Like, why people are so reliant on the government? That's your mom. Go do it yourself. Like, what the heck? Why don't you help her? Well, yeah. Why expect the government to do it for you? I was like, proud of you.
But it's true.
Yeah.
It is true. It is strange. I don't know what the reliance is. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, back to your point of just like, we're not allowed to touch trees. I think I get to some degree why you don't want people to kind of screw around.
Totally.
And I get like the wrong person screws around and you get crushed by a branch like that.
Electrocuted.
Yeah.
Like, I understand there are concerns.
But I think in this scenario, I think it should be on the residents of the community should be able to come together and just remove the tree on their own, especially if...
Yeah, like if it's, as long as an adult is doing it, you don't cut trees that are above your head. You know, like don't cut anything down that's not already down.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I don't see the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's strange, and like we're bringing crews in from even America at this point, like from Quebec and Maine, I think. Yeah, Maine. I saw the picture of all the trucks coming from Maine, which is the only reason why they removed ArriveCan.
Yeah. Wasn't the only reason.
Oh.
ArriveCan was being removed before that. That decision was made, came before that.
But it was not supposed to happen that soon, was it?
No.
Right.
Wasn't. So, yeah, they got held up by ArriveCan.
Yeah. And so then that day, magically, they could just end it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just like, let's just get this over with now.
It was very fun. It was like, that was quick.
Yeah.
Is there just a button?
Actually, I don't think it actually still, like, I think it's this Friday that's upcoming. So the Friday that would have just passed if you're listening to this.
Yeah.
Is when ArriveCan officially
this
kiboshed.
week for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the fact that these guys are still, because they're on this side of the ArriveCan policy, they got held up and from coming in.
To help us.
Yeah.
I was like, what the heck?
You know, House of Commons made sure Trudeau heard about that one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He was like, his response was golden.
Trudeau's?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's like, I saw some of the teams off from Ottawa myself. We are just
I know.
fine. I was like, all right.
Good for you.
I'm glad you shook hands with some people and kissed some babies. Good for you.
He's so annoying to listen to respond, and man, it's so hard.
Dude, I don't know. Did you see all the stuff? I don't know if it was, I wasn't able to verify if it really was from Newfoundland, but there was a whole TikTok, at least I saw it come up, of a bunch of residents chanting F Trudeau in Newfoundland as he came. So I was like, either it's Newfoundland or Cape Breton, one of the two.
Is he here right now?
He came to visit one of the provinces. Yeah.
Within the last few days?
Yeah.
What does that do? We don't want to see you right now.
Yeah. I don't know. Again, I can't verify. I'm pretty sure he at least tried to make a plan to be here.
And they weren't having it.
They weren't having it. All I saw was this video of a group of people in either Cape Breton, Newfoundland, who were just chanting F Trudeau after with all these trees down and stuff and no electricity because of the Ukraine stuff. That's why they're going off on him.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So what were your thoughts on this? I would love to hear it. Like, this guy just pledged billions of dollars to help the Ukraine war and the Ukraine fight.
Yeah.
And then he turned around and said, hey, we will match any donation made through the Red Cross. I was like, bro. All right, cool. This is why people are saying F Trudeau, because he clearly cares a lot more about what's going on in Ukraine versus with his own people that he's supposed to be governing. So I can see why people
That's
are
a
frustrated.
hard pill to swallow.
Yep.
That is crazy.
Dude, wild times, man.
What can you do? We're just trying to get over a hurricane.
Yeah, exactly. Straight up. I mean, there's a bunch of like stuff that you have to start asking questions when things like this happen, right? Like, how prepared you are, how reliant you are on central systems.
Totally. We didn't have cell service.
No.
Cell service was like wiped out.
Yeah.
No Wi-Fi.
Bell was patting themselves on the back that they did well through that.
Oh, did they?
You saw that CEO statement?
No.
He's like, oh yeah, he's pretty much, I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, we were only down for maybe a couple hours. I think that's really good considering the circumstances. This, that, the other, and everyone's comment on the post was like, yeah, I'm paying $100 a month. That's the highest in like friggin' North America.
It should be on 24/7.
Yeah, it should be on 20. Are you kidding me? Everyone, it was funny. It was interesting seeing the range of emotion and reactions across the board on various fronts, and seeing where people are at and what they're thinking. Because I was curious if Trudeau was to show up in Newfoundland or Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, whatever, what would be the reaction?
Yeah.
Would people be able to at least be able to see for a second, be able to see beyond politics and be like, okay, at least he's here trying to do something. We'll take it. Or is it going to go straight to screw you, get out of here, we don't want you here? I was curious of which way it went. Obviously, saw one video. I'm not sure of exactly how the whole welcoming committee would have gone, but it's interesting.
Very, yeah. Because personally, to me, I'm like, the prime minister's not going to help.
No,
he's going to tell me it'll be okay.
Yeah,
well, everything's okay for you.
Yeah, straight up. And I'll on the same front, I'll still give credit to Tim Houston too. Like, he's, as much as I don't like him, he definitely did a good job of like really trying to, comfort people, let them know that he was in control, everything was gonna be taken care of.
Yeah,
this, that, the other, and he's done a good job. I'm not gonna lie, like he's like kind of that old school politician. I feel at this point because it seems like politics in North America in general, you just feel like, oh yeah, like you guys do not care about us.
Yeah,
I definitely don't feel comforted by Trudeau. I don't feel comforted by Biden. Like, I don't feel, even as much as I thought he was funny, I didn't feel comforted by Trump. Like, it was just kind of like, you're on your own at this point, right? And so, but like through the past little bit, I was like, kind of felt like Tim Houston had this like old school politician kind of vibe to him. I was like, he's like, we got you. We'll take care of this. We'll get through this. Even like the stuff the province announced, if you had power out for 48 hours, we're going to give you $150 to cover any lost food.
Yeah.
I mean, that's decent stuff. I appreciate that.
That's super helpful.
Yeah. So overall, lots of funny things to go on. We actually had a listener, Reg, he messaged me and he told me a story because obviously this was back when he went to some type of conference that had all like kind of the power, the main power people at it. So you had Heritage Gas, Nova Scotia Power,
right,
and whatever the New Brunswick one was. I'm gonna make sure I get this story right because it was actually very comical. But he essentially there's like a panel, and so he got to be one of the people that got to ask questions to the panel.
Okay,
and so he was asking essentially, New Brunswick Power. So New Brunswick Power, Nova Scotia Power, and Heritage Gas. And so a lot of like Heritage Gas's, lines are underground and Nova Scotia Power aren't. So he asked the question Nova Scotia Power. He's like, okay, why aren't most Nova Scotia Power's cables buried underground?
Yeah.
And he came back with, well, it's about 5 times more expensive to do that, this, that, the other. And he's like, okay, cool. So he moves to Heritage Gas. And he was like, so how often do you guys have power outages? He's like, I don't think we've really had any in the past 5 years. And so he went back to the Nova Scotia Power guy. And he was like, so how much do you guys lose in power outages every year in terms of
lost revenue?
And like, having to repair everything. And the guy was like, next question. Oh, we're going to move on to somebody else.
Wow.
It's like, what a snake, eh? So he just shared that story with me. I thought it was really funny. And that's Reg for you. He was on the show, obviously, a few weeks back, a month ago. So,
yeah.
But yeah, it was a funny story you shared.
That seems so on brand for Nova Scotia Power.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was curious what was going to happen, obviously, with everything being wiped out, how Nova Scotia Power was going to react, how long it was going to take. And it's taken a while, there was a lot of damage.
Oh yeah. I mean, New Glasgow, Pictou County, that area is not estimated in some parts till Sunday. That hurricane was over on last Sunday. That's over a week.
Yeah. Yikes. Yeah. There's like one, I live right in the HRM, and there's still a neighborhood until yesterday that still had no power. So that would have been a solid 4 or 5 days, no power.
Oh,
in the heart of the HRM.
I have friends, that live right by the Commons.
Oh, yeah?
And same thing. Yesterday morning came on.
Craziness.
Well, that's a long time.
Yeah, that was wild. So we'd love to hear all of y'all's stories, see how it all turned out for you guys.
Yeah.
It's been a wild time.
Yeah.
But, the last thing I want to hit on was the Fisheries and Oceans tweet. Would you think of that?
I haven't seen this.
I haven't seen it. So they ended up tweeting something out saying, just a reminder that if you see any lobsters washed ashore, please don't. It's illegal to essentially pick them up and take them home.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, wow, thanks for letting me know what I can and cannot do. Like, it's literally wildlife, like fair game.
Yeah.
And Fisheries like, yeah, you can't be doing that. We got to leave that to the lobster fishermen. It's interesting. So anyways, there's one woman had made a TikTok about it, and all she did, this is just going to be more some good old Atlantic humor.
Yeah.
Maritime humor of how people address this tweet.
Yeah.
So as you may know, Hurricane Fiona just hit, and Fisheries and Oceans Canada posted this on their Twitter to just remind people that if you find lobsters washed up on the shore, remember it's illegal to harvest them. This was not a well-timed tweet. What is great, though, is the comments. Here are my favorite comments from the Halagonia post on Instagram. Yeah, you're not telling me what to do, Fed boy. I had absolutely zero interest in harvesting lobsters until I read this post.
True.
Imagine. The only thing on my record would be a lobster heist from the ocean. Last I recall, your Fisheries and Oceans, not Fisheries and Land. I get lucky enough to get handed lobster on shore, they're coming with me. What if I give them a good home, raised and put them through college, still considered harvesting? Some people. If one walked up to me on the beach, it's the Lord's will I eat it. Seriously? As if they're going to learn how to farm and be A-okay. You can't prove Jesus didn't give me that lobster.
Amen.
Obviously better for them to die than for anyone to eat them. So I can't bring them home and give them a nice warm bath to help them. The average person swallows 10 lobster a year in their sleep. Damn, I wish I'd have known this before lunch. Now, given that during the hurricane, a lot of people lost power, lost a lot of food, are dealing with significant property damage, you know, they did take the tweet down. Read the room, bro. Read the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad timing.
Oh, classic government. Make sure you know your place, peasant.
As if any of us forgot that it's illegal to take lobsters.
Right.
Remind us during the hurricane.
Yeah.
Like, we all know. It's a well-known fact that you can't just go take a lobster. And you're just going to remind us after a storm.
I didn't even know it was well known.
Really?
Yeah.
That was a big deal.
I guess whole fights broke out over this a couple of years ago, didn't they?
That was a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the fishermen will come after you.
Dude, well, not necessarily. The fishermen, generally speaking, won't do anything. The DFO will.
Really, yeah?
It's a crime.
I hate this country.
Yeah, it's a crime. The lobster fishermen, and I guess, there are lobster fishermen who pay upwards of $1 million for a lobster license, just for the license. Then they have to buy the boat to fish it and hire the men for the boat.
Right.
So there's probably, a feeling of that, of theft when you do that. But the government likes to use that, don't touch, or we can fine you.
It's ours.
Yeah, or we'll give you a ticket.
Oh, no. Oh, shoot. Well, yeah, so that's all that jazz. And then on last hurricane situation, obviously we got Hurricane Ian coming in.
Dude, Florida got smoked.
Yeah,
Dude,
absolutely smoked. Did you see Dave Portnoy's post about this?
No.
Dude, you got to watch this, dude.
I saw that TikTok that it's his first hurricane.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't watch it, though.
Oh, yeah.
I gotta fucking move
Leave it.
Florida in hurricane season so I don't have to pay my fucking taxes because I'm making too much. The phone just fucking broke. It's apple season picking up north and I'm in a fucking tornado / hurricane with the water probably coming up, evacuation mode. I don't want to complain about rich people things, but the fact I gotta move to Miami before I'm ready to save money because I make hundreds of millions and the taxes are too big and I gotta deal with Hurricane Ian, it ain't right. And I'm not saying that you should cry for me, Argentina, but what are we gonna do when the rich people have to leave too fast? I should be picking apples and instead I'm in the hurricane season. Why? Because I gotta save a couple $100 million on taxes. It ain't right.
It ain't right.
Oh, I love it. Oh, so.
It is true why there's like multiple millionaires that have been on TikTok like, yeah, our yacht's flooded and sinking. And they're just like, they don't care. And I'm like, wow, makes sense.
Must be a nice life.
Yeah. I'm like, you'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll be just fine. But yeah, there's a lot to get into for this episode. That was, our intro. I want to make sure we addressed our homies here in the Maritimes and make sure everyone's okay.
Yeah.
And all the experiences that y'all had. But there's been some crazy things happening in our country, but also abroad. Nord Stream 2, anybody? That was interesting. Alberta fighting Justin Trudeau. There's all kinds of things to get into this week.
I know.
So we're going to jump right on into it. First, have you guys watching the Dahmer series on Netflix at all?
Yes. Well, I've been watching Hannah watch it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Dang, how's she doing with
She
it?
loved it.
Loved it? Oh.
She thought it was like, the acting was great. She thought it was the first like true crime that didn't glorify the bad person.
Really?
Yeah. Like in the way where it became about like making them look cool or like important other than the fact that they were just like an evil person.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, that's, the extent of it. Yeah.
Nice.
She just thought it was good. Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet. I've seen a lot of good stuff about it though, but like it just goes like it's another thing about another serial killer, and it does for me. I would say it kind of does glorify them. Like we talked about
Just in nature.
We talked about the killers in territories a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
and how why do they do it?
Yeah.
And then we do this stuff on Netflix where we're posting stories about Jeffrey Dahmer. All these serial killers in the U.S. and basically talking like, oh, look at how big this person, what they did, and then continue talking about them. Like, why? Why are we glorifying these serial killers? It's like, yeah, their stories are interesting, but not stories that we need to share and need to recite to, some twisted kid is going to get inspired by this. It's going to watch this like, oh, he became famous because of this. Now I can become famous because of this.
Totally fair. Absolutely fair point. And I think you're right. Just by nature of making a series like that, you're innately glorifying them, but they don't add any additional glorification. So, respectively, it's like better. It's like the best of the worst.
Right. Yeah, I've been going back and forth if I want to watch or not because I just know the families did not want it to be released.
Yeah.
So which is interesting.
So, I mean, not to be rude, but just to be honest, I don't think with other publications about Dahmer they had a problem.
Oh, really?
From what my understanding is they've never fussed about the other, because there's 2 movies already about him where there wasn't such an outcry. And I think it's maybe this one because it's so real. Maybe it's like, I don't know, maybe because it isn't cartoony or like, fake or corny.
Hang on, tonight on 60 Minutes.
Yeah, because maybe it's not corny. Maybe it invokes a different emotion in them. I sympathize with them. I can't even imagine what it'd be like to, again, see another thing about your loved one's horrific end of life.
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling. Like, I would...
In the same breath, it's out there.
Yeah.
If you want to watch it, you can watch it,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, it definitely got me, but I definitely wouldn't be...
Do you think you could stomach it? Like, are you worried about that? Or
No, I can. I don't mind watching it, but I was just like, if I was one of the family members, I don't even know. I would definitely have to block it out. But yeah, I guess we'll give it a couple months. It'll blow over. But yeah, it's
Well, see, and that's what with this one. I don't think it's gonna like. This is like Emmy worthy.
Is it?
Yeah.
Shoot.
He's being called Actor of the Year over this.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh boy, but yeah.
So they might. Maybe that's why. It's because they know they might not be able to escape the line like this one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, makes sense.
Because there's like original footage of when it happened. The paparazzi went to all these victims' funerals. So it's like they haven't had a break since the beginning.
Right.
So they rightfully so can be upset.
I guess I'll ask you then, how do you feel when like Netflix approached them, asked them if they could do it, and the family said no, and they still went and released it anyways?
So that's I guess it's a moral question over a legal question because they're legally allowed to do it.
Yeah.
Morally, I can't operate that way. But a corporation exists only to return a profit. They don't have a moral compass. Corporations don't have moral compasses. So it doesn't surprise me that it happened.
Yeah. Gotcha. Fair enough.
It's interesting, though.
But yeah, not even you piqued my interest on it. Now I'm like, I don't know.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. I did come across one TikTok. These freaking young kids don't even know what they're freaking talking about these days. The Katy Perry song, E.T.
Yeah.
That one lyric.
Yeah.
And
they're
everyone's
like upset about it.
They're just like, wait a second, this is terrible. I'm like,
You sung it for the last 10 years.
Yeah. Oh, now it's terrible, huh? Did you not realize what you're singing?
Same with Kesha. Doesn't she have one?
Does
Kesha, Cannibal. The song Cannibal.
Was that about him?
Well, they were like, I'm Cannibal, eat you up, something.
Oh, like Jeffrey Dahmer.
Like Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah, that's right. You're right. Yeah, like, I'm not going to lie. Like, even at the time those songs were released, I was like, that's not okay. Like, I hate those lyrics. Like, that's so gross.
Yeah.
But everyone's just like in the club.
Now.
Yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer.
But now, because it's like everyone's chronically online and like weak, they have to like be chronically offended by something too.
True. Yeah. And it's weird. Not a fan of the lyrics. Never were, but it's really funny to see them turn back now.
Yeah, how now all of a sudden it's like...
Now I know who he is. I'm like...
Bro, you could have Googled him.
Please. We go back to what we talked about last week. Just Google what the heck you're coming across.
I know.
I'm gonna eat you eat your heart like Jeffrey Dahmer. It's like bro,
you
what?
never put that together. Like you never thought to Google who Jeffrey Dahmer may be.
Yeah, just a thought.
I know.
Now we're putting together TikTok content. Make sure to hit right in the chest on that
Oh
one.
my gosh, dude.
Oh baby. Well, there's that. But new prime minister in Italy. They're going conservative.
Dude, this is very interesting on the internet lately.
Very, very interesting.
Because if you had to ask me right now my opinion on her, and if I was someone who just believed what I saw, I would say she's an evil right-wing like maniac.
I would believe that she's an evil far right maniac.
That's what you think she is?
That's what based on this.
Just from what the internet showed me, that's
Yeah.
what I'm to believe. So I have not learned much about her.
So this is an article I came across on my way into the show tonight or into the studio. And from NBC News, far-right leader Giorgia Meloni is set to become Italian prime minister. She has ultra-conservative values, anti-immigration, and nationalism. These are the three key words that best describe what she stands for, said Rosa Balfour, director of the Carnegie Europe think tank. So she's been accused by she's a nationalist, accused by political rivals and experts of spreading white supremacist ideas, was set Monday to become Italy's first far-right leader since World War II. Mussolini, anybody? All right, the near final results.
We have to come back to that.
We do. The near final results from Sunday's election showed her Brothers of Italy party will lead a right-wing coalition joined by former Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi, center-right Forza Italia party, and fellow right-wing firebrand Matteo Salvini's League party. So it goes on to tell if you continue to go, maybe it's that one. She has bemoaned the chronically low birth weight. You know, she's kind of interesting things she's been talking about.
Naval blockades to stop immigration.
Yep. And pretty much what they've called her is that, you know, she believes, like she's claimed that she's more like a center right.
Center right.
You know?
Yeah.
And everyone else is calling her far right.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. And then I was like, okay, what are the big things that she's getting at?
Yeah.
Well, she supposedly anti-immigration. She's got conservative values, anti-immigration, and she's for nationalism, which are apparently all right, far right ideas.
Yeah.
Nationalism instead of globalism, you know, this, that, the other. So I was like, wow, I was reading through Twitter when she got elected.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow, man, she sounds like a maniac.
Yeah.
Let's find out what she actually is.
Yeah.
So I went into it, I was like, oh, like I can understand, like, I mean, it's hard to understand through translation of what she's about. But like, I'm curious of this whole thing with anti-immigration. I'm curious what she really means by that.
Yeah.
Is she like, you know, what most people are? It's like she's very pro legal immigration and anti illegal immigration. I'm curious if that's the case.
Yeah.
That's actually the only thing that I may have got stuck on personally.
Yeah.
But everything else, I was like, yeah, you should be a nationalist. If you are going to be the prime minister of a country, you should be a nationalist.
Like
straight up.
Mow your own lawn.
Yeah. Like take care of your people, man.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know, what have you been hearing about her?
Well, I mean, relatively the same things. Obviously, I saw the headlines, far right, everything, and I just thought, okay, relax. Can't just take it for what it is. What's the name of her party again? Brothers of Italy Party. Is there any chance you could just Google Brothers of Italy Party and see if they have like a website or something? Because there's something I want to point out that I think is quite interesting. They have like three, what would you call them? Like what they live by, what they're
the
about.
pillars.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the pillars of their party. And they're the exact same three pillars as Mussolini.
Oh,
Yeah.
very interesting.
I mean, this party was founded by Mussolini. So there's a huge tie to him. So obviously I saw that and I was like, there's no doubting what Mussolini did. You know, you can see it in history.
Yeah.
And then I had to take a step back and I thought, and obviously they're two different people, but if someone, say, Hitler, who was in technically a political party,
Yeah.
if all of a sudden today that same political party, though under new leadership, came into power, I would probably be upset too. Because Mussolini was nothing short of a dictator, as far as I'm concerned, right? I don't think that's, you know, out of turn. So it's just a little nerve-wracking, I think.
Right.
But I think there's more to her than just a far right. But I'm nervous.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah, I'm curious that what you said here says that Brothers of Italy can trace its roots back to, they were founded in 2012, so they weren't founded by
Sorry.
but they found their roots back to a fascist party founded by supporters of dictator Benito Mussolini. So yeah, that's definitely something to point out. If we want to actually go to her speech that she did, I'm going to try to actually just read the subtitles.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting. I thought it was an interesting message. See if you guys can get on board with it. Please answer me these questions. This is what we're going about doing here today. What is the family an enemy? Why is the family so frightening? There's a single answer to all these questions. Because it defines us, because it is our identity, because everything that defines us is now an enemy. For those who would like us to no longer have an identity, and to simply be perfect consumer slaves. And so they attack national identity, they attack religious identity, they attack gender identity, they attack family identity. I can't define myself as Italian, Christian, woman, mother. No. I must be citizen X, gender X, parent 1, parent 2. I must be a number. Because when I am only a number, when I no longer have an identity or roots, there I'll be the perfect slave and at the mercy of financial speculators. The perfect consumer. Which is interesting. It's an interesting message.
Very interesting message.
Yeah.
I feel like that would have been wildly powerful to hear in Italian.
Yeah, definitely.
Like she was giving, like her emotion was strong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just play the audio. Like you can hear it in her voice.
Potrei farne tante altre di queste domande. A monte c'è quella che ci facciamo oggi. Perché la famiglia è un nemico? Perché la famiglia fa così paura? C'è una risposta unica per tutte queste domande. Perché ci definisce, perché è la nostra identità. Perché tutto quello che ci definisce in questo tempo è un nemico. Per chi vorrebbe che non avessimo più un'identità e che fossimo solamente schiavi, consumatori perfetti. E allora è sotto attacco l'identità nazionale, è sotto attacco l'identità religiosa, è sotto attacco l'identità di genere, è sotto attacco l'identità familiare. Non devo potermi definire italiana, cristiana, donna, madre, no. Io devo essere cittadino X, genere X, genitore 1, genitore 2, devo essere un numero. Perché quando sarò solamente un numero, quando non avrò più un'identità, quando non avrò più radici, beh, allora sarò lo schiavo perfetto in balia della grande speculazione finanziaria. Il consumatore perfetto.
Wow.
Yeah. Chill, man.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. But I think you make a good point. As anyone who gets into power, always got to keep an eye out.
Yep.
And see what's going on.
Absolutely right.
And yep, rightfully cautiously optimistic.
Absolutely right. And I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
It's an interesting time politically everywhere.
Yeah, didn't like Sweden just elect a right-wing party as well?
I saw something about Sweden lately.
Yeah.
It's I mean, obviously you see Canada electing Pierre Poilievre as the leader of the Conservative Party. And just 2 days ago, the stats came out on, what that looks like in terms of leadership of Canada.
Yeah.
If it were to be a vote right now, and it's like
7 points ahead.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. He's the whole, like it's across the whole world right now, because let's talk about it. We all know what's coming. We all know World Economic Forum has their tentacles into all things.
Yep.
And most people see it now, and that's why they're going hardcore on conservative. Yeah, there's like, hey,
you have to like wildly reverse.
Yeah, you're just like, okay, well, this is nuts. I don't want to be part of some globalist crazy agenda. I want my country. I want us to be together and
be a Canadian.
Yeah, like this, not have people like Klaus Schwab run our country, who I didn't elect.
100%. You're letting a businessman make decisions over your independence, your financial independence, your family. It's crazy.
Yeah.
All of this reminds me of something I was reading today about how America is basically entering into the transition of their banking system from cash to, digital currency. And one thing that happened in the height of COVID that went pretty much under the radar because we were all busy worrying about COVID. Did you know what fractional reserve banking is?
Yeah.
They keep about 10% of all deposited funds, and they lend out about 90% of the rest. Do you know what the government allowed banks to drop fractional reserve banking to during COVID and until now? 0%. The bank does not need to keep any of your money in their accounts. So when you log in and see how much money you have in your checking account, and this is in Canada too, we rely on fractional reserve banking. The number you see in a checking account is just an IOU.
Right.
Hopefully there's the money there to give it to you. That's what they owe you. It's a ledger of what they owe you.
Right. And now the money's not there.
In America, it doesn't have to be there.
Wow. That's crazy.
So, I mean, this is like what my grandmother would have experienced in Greece when the euro came in. And they rapidly tried to pull out money, and there was no money because it was all gone.
Right.
You know, there could be no money in an American bank account, though you have money.
Yeah.
Because it's all lent out.
Time's coming. Things are about to get real interesting.
Strange
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah. A lot of people are expecting some big things to happen this fall, who are expecting the big transition to happen,
Yeah.
as you said. And I don't know what that's going to look like.
In any regard, I don't know what that's going to look like.
I just know
Beyond banking.
It's just going to be hard. That's all I know.
Yeah.
So don't cry for me, Argentina.
It's going to be interesting.
Yep.
Very interesting.
But speaking of which,
Yeah.
into international political issues, Nord Stream. What did you guys hear about? Have you hear about this?
High level.
Dude. So very intriguing situation. It's essentially a gas leak that has happened in the Baltic Sea.
Okay.
This is what that's looking like. That's a kilometer wide right now. It's craziness, dude. So, and if you had like a boat or anything go over, it's just going to sink right to the bottom.
No.
Yeah, there's no buoyancy when gas it gets released into the ocean. So it's like it's gangster stuff, dude.
Oh, wow.
So, anyways, big stuff going on with this because Nord Stream 1, there's Nord Stream 1, Nord Stream 2. Both are essentially pipelines.
Pipelines underground, underwater.
Yeah, underwater that go right from Russia to Germany.
Right.
The only difference between 1 and 2 is they just kind of service different locations in Russia before they get to Germany.
Right.
So they're coming from different areas.
Yeah.
But they kind of run parallel to each other.
Yeah, they split off once they get near Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, so those apparently leaked, and that's created this issue. And then we have this from CBC. It says Denmark says damage to Nord Stream pipeline in Baltic Sea was deliberate. This was not an earthquake, says seismologist after dual blasts. And so people are wondering who's behind this. Did Russia do a false flag because they're losing the war,
right?
And they're trying to rally troops as they conscript people, conscript their homies. Is this them, or is this a different actor? Because honestly, what happens here, you know? And so people are asking these questions because if with these blowing up, what's been happening is Russia holds all the bargaining chips. It's like, hey, you stop supporting Ukraine, we'll turn the energy back on. You guys won't freeze in the winter.
Yeah.
Now with these things blowing up, Russia doesn't have their bargaining chip anymore. So now Germany's forced to continue to back Ukraine in this war, no matter what. They have no allegiance to Russia now. So everyone's wondering what happened. And then people were like, oh my gosh, do you remember what Joe Biden said back in February? So if you pull up that link.
The internet is quick, man.
Yeah.
If Russia invades, that means tanks or troops crossing the border of Ukraine again. Then there will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
How will you do that exactly? Since the project and control of the project is within Germany's control.
We will. I promise you, we'll be able to do that.
He's hard to listen to.
He's really hard.
He's like a patient.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Regardless. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Very
He
interesting.
is still the president of the United States. He can't make things happen.
Yep. And so everyone's like, wait a second, because that was a confusing statement. It's like the project's between Russia and Germany. U.S. has no deal in that project whatsoever.
Joe Biden's just at the bottom of the ocean, like stabbing it.
Straight up. And but things are like spooky things are happening because of this, right? We got
That's just huge implications on Germany.
Yep. Denmark saying it's hard to imagine this was accidental. The Polish prime minister said this is hard to believe this was an act of sabotage. The former defense minister of Poland tweeted out saying, "Thank you, USA." Like this is some real crap going on, dude.
I said thank you. And which one blew up? Was it 1 or 2?
I think there was damage was mainly to 1, but as well too was affected. And so there was 3 blasts across. So it clearly wasn't just an earthquake shake.
The United States is good at controlled demolition, dog.
They are. They know what's up. So it was really odd that this is happening. So this leads us to Germany screwed this winter.
And it's fast approaching, and it gets cold.
Yes, and so they're saying they have about 90%, like they're ready, like they might get through the winter, but like they have nothing to back themselves up. And then you also got the issue with what Switzerland was talking about a couple weeks ago, right? You hate your house above 19 degrees,
jail time.
You're going to jail. So things are going to get ugly here very quickly, and I don't know. I'm curious because now obviously Ukraine, backed by NATO, is now, getting the upper hand on the U.S. on Russia, and they're starting to win that battle. Now, where do we go? This has been blowing up. I think if Russia had nothing to do with it, and this was, say, the U.S. is doing, I think nuclear war is next. Because this was the only thing Russia had to be like, just to hold it over NATO and Europe.
Yeah.
And now it's gone. Now it's like, now they definitely have nothing to lose.
So you think nuclear war between Russia and the Ukraine?
Yep.
Because they might as well send it then.
Yep. Exactly.
They die or go out, like win or die trying.
Yep. And I hope they don't. I hope that doesn't happen. That's going to screw everybody else up on Earth. But like, I just don't see, this is clearly an escalation. This isn't good. And we're going to feel it. I don't know what ways we're going to feel it.
Just this week, Putin said he's not afraid of using nuclear. But after this happened, I'm pretty sure went on air to redact that statement.
Oh, did he?
I'm almost positive that Putin made a new statement saying that nuclear war is not on the table.
All right, let's clarify that.
Yeah. So these are all within 14 hours. The one I saw was like a couple days ago. But he may have now once again said he would.
Yeah, I mean, Washington Post says Putin says nuclear threat is no bluff. We should take him at his word. It was an opinion piece. Let's go with it. Let's go the old back home CTV news. What you saying? Vladimir Putin's latest warning that he is ready to use nuclear weapons to defend Russia amid the war in Ukraine has made a troubling question much more urgent. Is the former KGB spy bluffing? Putin cautioned it was no bluff, and Western politicians, diplomats, and nuclear weapons experts are divided. Some say he could use one or more smaller tactical nuclear weapons to try to stave off military defeat, protect his presidency, scare off the West, or intimidate Kiev into capitulation. Putin's warning, which was followed by a more specific threat to use a nuclear weapon in Ukraine from an ally, might mean the Kremlin is considering an escalation after Russia annexes 4 Ukrainian regions, which only partly occupies. Russia's parliament is expected to declare the regions a part of Russia on October 4th. Once that happens, the way would be made clear from Moscow's viewpoint for a possible defensive strike if it felt the territory was under serious threat.
Interesting.
So it's still on the table. This doesn't make it any easier.
Nope.
And there's one last thing I want to point to that people think it's the U.S. And it was documented that the CIA had been warning Berlin of attacks on the pipeline as recent as this past summer.
Oh.
Attacks might happen. It's going to be us. And here we are. Late September.
Wow.
It's going to be a wild time.
Wow. So why would they not prepare, I wonder? That leads me to not believe that one.
Yeah, I mean, let's pull up the article here. I'll send it.
But in the same breath, it's, hard to say.
They must have them.
The CIA is wildly intimidating to me.
Oh, dude, they're spooky.
They're spooky.
They don't answer to nobody. Let's get real.
So I want to know what it takes to become a CIA agent. Like, that must be, like...
It's a lot of work.
A lot of work. Mm-hmm. And how do you become so trusted?
Yeah. I couldn't...
Who have you sold your soul to?
You have to be single. There's no... you can't say a thing to your spouse.
How do you not?
I would have a hard time doing that, personally.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
They probably think you work an entirely different job.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably have to tell your spouse you don't do that job.
Yeah, you have to lie to them. That's tough.
That's not a fun life.
No. Hey, I'm a teacher.
Yeah.
Like what?
Why do you always wear black pants and a white shirt every day?
I'm Mormon.
It's an office job when you.
Yeah, straight up. The CIA warned Berlin about possible attacks on gas pipelines in summer. So the U.S. intelligence agency had weeks ago warned Germany about possible attacks on the pipelines in the Baltic Sea. The German government received the CIA tip in summer. Spiegel reported, citing unnamed sources, adding that Berlin assumed a targeted attack on Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipelines. And this was written September 27th. So, iffy. That was written today.
Just yesterday.
Yeah. So, yeah, yesterday. So.
And could this also be, though, one of those fake news stories?
Well, it's Reuters. They are news guards certified.
Yeah.
But, yeah. We'll see.
Dude. Either way.
Either way. I mean, it has been public knowledge beforehand. I did see other articles that was
because no matter what way you cut, slice this, dice this, Russia has lost that bargaining chip, regardless of who did it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
they literally have nothing to lose.
Nope.
Because they're still warm this winter.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like for our parents' generation, like I feel like, the Soviet Union has kind of always been a problem. Like Soviet Union was a problem.
Mm-hmm.
There was a Cold War with the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
And now there's is every generation going to go through something with
Russia?
With Russia?
Well, the thing is,
is this just like a cycle?
Like, I'm not there's okay. I might be naive, but there's nothing about Russia that intimidates me.
Because all he goes to is nuclear.
Yeah, I'll go nuclear. This guy can't even conquer Ukraine. I get it. He was technically up against NATO. I understand. But, you can't even conquer the country next to you? I'm far more afraid of China than I am of Russia.
Yeah.
China's a much bigger player, has much more weapons at hand.
And money.
Yeah, money and all of our businesses over there.
Yeah, they can stop our supply to almost everything.
Yep. They can screw us all over.
They
scare me far more. And so with this whole Russia-Ukraine thing, it hasn't been good for Ukrainians, and I feel for them as a people. But in terms of just the war not going our way, I guess our way, whatever that means, I haven't been concerned about it. I'm like, this is gonna I think I'm more interested in what happens when Russia loses.
Right.
And what happens with Putin and his presidency and all that. So
I wonder what it means for his presidency all the time. I'm like, could we see a Russia without Putin?
Will the CIA breach Russia and assassinate him? And will that lead the KGB to retaliate?
Yeah. And because I feel the CIA is not against things like that.
No, definitely not.
Not at all.
No, they'll do it. Make it look like an accident. Jeffrey Epstein him.
Right.
Straight up.
The world is not so picturesque, man.
No, man. It's there's a lot of stuff we don't know about. That's for sure. So.
Yikes.
Yeah. Yikes. That's was right. And Philip, before we move on, is there anything last things you wanted to mention?
I'm just doing some quick Googling here. And apparently the leaks were 75 kilometers apart.
Okay.
Which, I know how many miles that is. I love when they give different.
I know.
That's about 100. Yeah, it's pretty much 150 clicks. Or sorry, 75 is about 35 miles, 40 miles.
Yeah, so it said a submarine could get between the two locations in an hour.
Yeah.
Ish.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
So they just one other
boom.
Done.
We out, boys.
Submarines are super interesting to me.
Well, I think also they have to go slower if they're trying to avoid sonar as well.
Yeah, because the sound of the water would get picked up.
Right.
So to cover, I guess, hitting one in the day and then one in the night on the same day, you'd have to go slow. But you could easily cover that distance then going slower speeds.
Oh, man. It's not good.
That's my little conspiracy for this.
It's not good.
I'm here for the conspiracy stuff. Yeah, it's not good. It's a bad situation. And let's pull it all the way back home. Things that aren't good.
Oh.
Gosh, man. So
this was a wild statement.
Dude.
The Alberta, they really just did that.
we've been talking about it, man. People are straight up rebelling against the federal government.
Yeah. They're just literally.
Saskatchewan threatened to arrest federal agents.
Yeah.
And Alberta says RCMP do not listen to Trudeau's gun ban.
Yeah. Don't even accept them.
Yeah, we're not going to be confiscating them.
Yeah.
Yo!
Like they just told the federal police to disobey federal law.
Yeah. That's happening in our country. CBC, here we go. Alberta won't participate in federal efforts to seize prohibited weapons, Sandro says. Provincial Justice Minister Alberta will not agree to having RCMP officers act as confiscation agents. The Alberta government is taking steps to oppose federal firearms prohibition legislation and the potential seizure of thousands of assault-style weapons. Since May of 2020, Ottawa has prohibited more than 1,500 different models of assault-style firearms from being used or sold in Canada. It has committed to establishing a buyback program to remove those firearms from communities. Alberta Justice Minister Tyler Shandro says he received a letter from the Minister of Public Safety asking for police resources to begin confiscating firearms starting this fall. He says Alberta will not agree to having RCMP officers act as confiscation agents and will protest any such move under the provincial federal agreement that governs policing.
Wow. Alberta taxpayers pay over $750 million per year for the RCMP. And we will not tolerate taking officers off of the street to confiscate property of law-abiding firearm owners. And I can get behind that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with it.
Me too.
I think we should start putting more effort into, taking out the guys who have firearms illegally in the country and using them to hurt people. But hey,
I feel like we're such a broken record where it's like, why are we blaming legal gun owners for crimes committed with illegal weapons? Because all of this was sparked from the Nova Scotia mass shooting, which took place with American weapons brought into Canada illegally.
Yeah.
But it was an easy in to the uneducated eye of how these types of weapons are bad.
Yeah.
And no one, I guess, I don't get it. I don't get it. We've said it so many times, and still, it's like, those weapons kill people. It's like, well, any weapon can kill someone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's how did it get here?
I don't think weapons kill people. People kill people.
Well, also that, exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
Why are these people killing people? Why don't we look into why people are killing people?
Mm-hmm.
$750 million a year for the RCMP. You want to waste those resources on confiscating weapons. So you'd rather confiscate the guns from legal owners than maybe invest into the mental health of the people who are probably killing people. It's so strange.
It is very strange.
Because what is that psychotic person going to go do when he can't get his hands or her hands on a assault style weapon? Hunting rifles are still legal. Mm-hmm. They're crazy. They don't care what kind of gun they use.
No.
They'll stab you to death. They're crazy.
As we've seen.
So I don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to stop killings.
Yeah.
You're not going to stop shootings. You will. I guess you'll stop shootings. Sure, yeah, you'll stop shootings. But people are still going to die.
Mm. Yep, it doesn't make any sense. But I think the thing I want to get at too, but the whole thing is, I definitely, I don't agree with the buyback program. I don't agree with them going after all these guns because it doesn't make any sense. It's a waste of time and resources from my perspective, from what I've seen and what the actual issue is. But I don't want to ignore the unprecedented moment we're seeing right here where provincial law is saying, screw you, the federal government.
Dude, that's
nuts.
war starting. That's civil war invoking.
Yes, absolutely.
That's like in the Bible of civil war. It's like you rebel against your leader.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you have government officials telling you to do it. So who do you believe?
Straight up. And what happens, right? So this is happening now. What happens when, say, Pierre Poilievre gets into power?
Yeah.
Quebec's like, screw you. Ontario's like, screw you. We're not going to obey you. We're not going to do that. Right? Like, what happens?
We're just going to have 13 little countries?
That's where it's going to right now, right?
That's Quebec's dream.
Oh, they would love it. Quebec and Alberta, let's be honest.
Yeah.
They would love that. That's kind of where we're heading right now with the craziness that's going on.
And I'm not a fan of the government. I don't, I don't turn to them for solace or I don't rely on them other than what I'm legally obliged to. However, the sense of being a Canadian is something I identify with. And that sort of disruption, it does affect me a little. Mm-hmm. I don't like it. I like a little bit of unity.
Yeah, just a little bit would be nice. And yeah, I think it's just such an interesting moment we're seeing now where it's like, all right, what's JT you're going to do? Because the thing about Justin Trudeau is this is what causes some issues. Is he's so soft as a leader. So he'll do like backroom deals to go screw you. Like it's like high school stuff.
He won't give it to you straight.
No. He'll find ways to get
people
you.
like that.
It's so annoying, and he's so
Tell me
soft.
the truth.
Yeah, just tell me straight up.
Look me in the eyes and just say the truth.
Say it with your chest.
Right? Why can't I don't get why people have to lie.
Yeah, and
It's a weak disease.
It's a weak disease. We're here for it. But he's done it to everyone who's ever opposed him. They always found ways to he's found ways to screw them over later on in life.
Yeah,
and so
every time.
So now I'm curious what he's going to do. What's he going to do? Well, he's down to Nova Scotia.
It started with what we talked about on the show.
Yeah, the Glass Sea license.
You voted
conservative.
Blue.
Now
I'm going to allow companies to dictate what I do to your province.
Yep.
Or I'm going to dictate companies to do things to your province.
True. And maybe all this really, maybe we can just draw it all back. This all probably started with Trudeau. Let's be honest. When he started just ravaging Alberta and taking everything from them and making them pay everybody in the country for their resources and giving nothing back to them, this is probably them just saying, you know what, enough. We're done being pushed around by you. This is probably just a result of what he's done for the past 7 years.
I don't think how it could be anything less. I don't see how it could be anything less. And then to see like the crisis that we're going through, the inflation we're facing, I think some of the lowest GDP we've probably ever seen, and we're still not touching our own oil. That's such a slap in the face to Alberta. That is the bread and butter of Alberta. That's the truth.
Yeah, Alberta, baby.
And, people judge Alberta a lot for being the Texas of Canada. They provide a ton for this country at its 100% operating capacity.
Yeah.
They provide like a ton for this country. And they're demonized by media, government, and other Canadians for being like backwards hillbillies. Do I fit in Alberta? No. But I can respect what they do. Mm-hmm. And Justin Trudeau does not.
No, he definitely not.
Not a chance he respects what they do.
Was it 2017, 2018, the Canada Day ceremony in Ottawa, where he forgot to mention Alberta in his speech?
Didn't he mention every other province?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Alberta.
Like, he can't even hide it.
No. He's such a snake.
Like, yeah, you can't even hide it. Like, you can't pretend like, oh, in Alberta.
Yeah. I love you, even though you hate me. Like, I don't know, at least play into it or something. Like,
crack a joke.
Yeah.
Even. Make it funny.
Exactly.
Lighten the room.
As much as I don't like the man, take a lesson from Gary Bettman, commissioner of the NHL. He knows everyone hates him, and he plays into it every time.
Dude, every time. He can put on a show.
Yeah. Exactly. Let him,
it makes him a little more likable.
Yeah.
I can relate to it. At least he's funny.
Yeah, exactly. I could digest more of what he was doing if he was at least laughed about it. But you can tell he has such a fragile ego.
Oh, he's such a little man.
Yeah,
it's like
bonkers.
he can't handle. Yeah, it's like he can't handle
any type of criticism.
So he has to pretend it doesn't exist.
Yeah, they're on the other side of the country. Whatever.
He's such a weak mindset.
Shout out BC, Saskatchewan.
It's so strange.
I feel like even if you're a horrible person, or in certain ways, if you're not a likable person in certain ways, at least if you acknowledge that fact,
yeah,
you are more of a person than someone that doesn't acknowledge who they are.
Authenticity will always win you more brownie points. It always. Just be, even if you're evil, just be authentic.
Mm-hmm. True.
Like,
lesson to all dictators out there: just be authentic.
Have you met a dictator who didn't just lay it all out there? They went right to work.
That's true.
They went right to town doing their thing.
That's why they get to power. I know that.
They didn't hold anything back. They made it perfectly clear.
Yeah. True.
What sucks about this sort of government is we're being told that's not happening to us. But people like you and I and other people who think the way we think can see it happening.
Yeah.
And that's what it's like. A nationwide gaslighting.
Oh, yeah.
It's so incredible to watch.
Yeah, it's a fun time, isn't
it? And everyone says, well, I hope when I die I was on the right side of history. Dog, I just hope I'm on the right side of today. Like, you can't, I can't base my life on what side I want to be on. Just look at what's in front of you and think about what's really happening.
Yeah.
Look at what's really going on.
Yeah. Yeah, when I talk to friends about it, like I have friends that just get overwhelmed by all this stuff, right? They don't even want to think about it, and they just want. I'm like, bro, like, the stuff you're enjoying today, you're not going to have tomorrow if you continue to keep that up. Like we're at that point now.
Turn a blind eye.
I used to be that, because I used to be able to afford to be that, and now I can't. Like, life is changing drastically before our very eyes. Before you know it, we're not going to be electing nothing. Like, we will on paper, but it's going to be the same with the monarchy as viewed in the UK.
Yeah.
We're just going to elect a figurehead, but we all know who's pulling the strings behind the scenes, and it's clearly not the person we elected. That's what's going to end up happening.
Which is such a shame.
Yeah.
I am like so beyond pro democracy, as I think any self-respecting Canadian should be.
Yeah.
So when you look at what's happening, you can't deny the bureaucracy. Oh my gosh, blanking bureaucracy.
Yeah,
How do you say the word?
Yeah, I think you're saying bureaucracy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like it's like ingrained in the Liberal Party at the moment. The red tape on everything, like how nothing can just easily be explained or found or admitted to when they're even caught.
Right.
How does that not disturb you? When you see them dancing around the question, beating around the bush, how does that not make you sick?
The thing is about it is they don't see it that way. That's what I've learned.
They just think that's the way people answer questions. Like,
yeah, because the reality, like, so we are so divided. Like
we are so divided.
Well, that's the issue, right? Is I'll watch on Twitter, right? And I told you guys before, like I watch both sides of the aisle, and it's so exhausting to see both sides being so blind to the other. I'm like, yeah, like I'm reading a lot, like, right leaning people who are just like, who at least to some degree are somewhat trying to see both sides, but they can be so hard-headed on their side.
Yeah.
But the left is so blind to anything on the other side, period. Like, anything the right believes is they're nuts. They're crazy. Nothing. They're all conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is the issue.
Like, how are you so enslaved to this party?
I don't get it.
You look like you are enslaved by this party. Like, as if you're commanded to represent what they represent.
Well, there's like a couple people who were like, it was what I thought was really interesting was seeing people analyze on both sides of the aisle the situation or the exchange between Poilievre and Chrystia Freeland in the House of Commons.
Oh, yeah.
The conservatives like, yo, Pierre, go after her. She can't answer no questions. She dance around to everything. She sounds like a whiny little woman, and I guess as she is, but she just kind of like, I guess the best way I can describe it is, I mean, did you ever watch the Vicky Guerrero days?
Yeah.
She's just like that.
Vicky Guerrero.
Excuse me. Yeah, that's what she sounds like, right? That's who she reminds me of. And I'm like, and just like her voice is like nails on a chalkboard. She doesn't answer any questions. She doesn't answer anything straight. I mean, she's just taking her notes from Trudeau, I guess. And so I see people on Twitter and they're just like, oh my gosh, go girl. You clap back on him. And I was like, she didn't say anything. What are you talking about? She didn't clap back nothing.
Because because she shuts him down, shuts the conversation down. Mm-hmm. That's like, good job. You shut him down. No, you just shut down democracy. Yeah. You just killed democracy.
Dude, you have to understand the perspective though. Like she was just shutting up the fascist.
Right.
So they don't deserve a platform. So
it's as incredible as it is to watch, it is equally as hard to watch.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. And we're here for it. So that's what I'm saying is, like, we are so divided that it's like I can see why people don't see things the way I do is because they choose not to. I really have tried so hard to see what I could like about the federal Liberal Party. And there's literally nothing. Like, there's like almost no redeeming qualities about them.
Yeah.
That I'm like, I can get on board with that guy. I'm just like, the only people I've gotten on board with out of the Liberal Party, the people who've left it.
Yes. And, dude, you just said exactly what I was thinking. And then I think to myself, why did they leave? Why did the only people I relate to leave? Could they not take it either? People in the Liberal Party have outright said over the last few weeks how they cannot take it.
No. You know, like it's like, you know, the whole, I mean, we'll go way back to the Jody Wilson-Raybould situation. She was a fantastic MP, and she just had to leave. She left the party and then left politics altogether.
Yeah.
I'm like, what did they do to you?
Yeah.
Like, I feel
They
so
like
sad.
killed her
Everything.
spirit of life. Like,
seriously, dude.
just drowned her out. Probably made her feel so small.
And the only reason, and this is the part that probably disgusts me the most about it, is the only reason you'll ever hear her name again is because the conservatives will bring her up, being like, what happened with that?
And then it's instantly up next.
Next question. Not going to talk about it.
She's not part of this. We can't bring her up.
No.
Some red tape about why they can't talk about her.
Mm-hmm. She's not worth talking about. You know, she was
old news,
destructive to the party, all that type of stuff, right?
That sounds like literally like a narcissistic relationship where it's like the person who was just trying to expose the truth or enlighten the people of the party or the constituents of the truth is told they're crazy, they're toxic, they're this. That's literally insane.
Yeah. Yep. You know, and one of the politicians I actually relate to the most at this point, which I think is very interesting, is Lanceman, the MP out of Thornhill.
Oh, really?
Dude, she's awesome.
I mean, I agree. And I mean, she knows how to connect with my demographic. She's very active on TikTok. So
yeah, she is.
It's a great way for me to see into Parliament, you know?
Definitely. No, I think she's a great vibe and
smart.
Yeah, she's very quick-witted. But that was the thing, is seeing some of these liberals attack her.
They literally went on about, remember the whole stuff about Jews?
Yeah.
She's literally Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
Is she not?
Yeah.
To her face.
Yeah.
They did it.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Do you remember what it was they did?
No, not specifically.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we were referring to something. So, essentially, I think it was back when with this the convoy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And essentially, that
it was around the Nazi.
Yeah, around the
flag
swastika
symbol
that was being waved.
Yeah.
And you know, the liberals were just like, well, you know, the conservatives on the other side of the aisle, or I said the members of the opposite party, are standing with swastikas and Nazis. And she was like, bruh, are you stupid? Like, I'm standing right here.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I was like, yeah, that's
that was awful.
That's when wokeism just goes to your head and you stop thinking.
Like,
yeah,
what gave you the right to say that, to make that blasphemous assumption?
Yeah. Oh, it's brutal. Craziness, man. And we'll continue to see what else Alberta continues to do. And that was the one tweet I saw from one of the left-wing media guys I follow. She's like, she's just a wannabe Pierre Poilievre, and there's a photo of them. She has the exact same haircut as him, and I was like, okay, cool, bro.
That brings up another great point, where they're going after his haircut,
yeah,
and his infant son.
Well, that's not true.
How isn't it?
Tell me what they were going about.
His white power symbol,
dude. We talked about this last week. That's a fake story.
Was it 100% fake?
100% fake.
Okay, fine. All right. Listen.
I love you.
Listen, dog. They're going after his looks.
Yeah. No.
What would stop them from going after their kid?
I mean, yeah, we know like nothing. Like that was the issue we talked about with the story, right? It was just so in the realm of possibility.
Yeah, that I think validates that even more.
Yeah.
That it could happen.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Interesting that they're going after his hairstyle.
Yeah.
Because they're similar.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the Conservatives didn't do much better with with Trudeau. It was the opposite. He's just not ready, but he's got nice hair though.
Well, I mean, listen, they grilled him about being a drama teacher, about his hair, about how his looks and things like that. There's a TikTok compilation of Justin Trudeau throughout the pandemic, doing his hair and his beard, and like how he'll stop, look at the camera, and like adjust his hair like Rico Suave. And it's just like, I think he knows what he's doing.
Oh, yeah, he's got to look good.
It's his ego boost.
Yeah, man.
He's like, he knows the camera's on him and they got him at the right time in between sentences, and he does his thing. It's so funny. Not that it has any implications on his politics. I don't really care. It's just funny.
Yeah, it's funny to watch.
Yeah.
For sure. It's all intriguing, and I think I hate how tribalistic we've all become over it, because it's not your guy. You know,
I know.
I mean, Sid Sixera went off about it. Like, again, that last TikTok we came across where he just like addressed all the people hating on him for going after Trudeau, and he's like, I ripped everybody, man. And if
we're just talking about this.
Exactly. And if you think your guy is off limits, then you have more issues with your politics than anything else.
The people who think that their guy is off limits are the same people who are chronically offended.
Yep. Yeah.
They just can't. There are people who just cannot take the heat. I'm not saying that you need to accept bullying.
No.
But you need to accept fact. That's the line.
Yeah. Gee. But, you know, it's only the liberals that care about the environment, so.
Yeah, that's right. With the new Green Deal.
Yeah. Shout out. Well, that was a crazy show, y'all.
We ended off with a lot of politics.
We did. And did you see Amazon's new robot assistant?
No, but let's look at it.
Dude, it's a mess, bro.
It's a mess?
Dude, it's so spooky. Scroll all the way down. So they announced their new suite of products.
Okay.
And this one right here.
Oh.
This thing, Amazon's Astro robot adds new features, including pet detection. This thing is a robot powered by Alexa, and it just follows you around the house. Amazon Astro robot can now check on doors to see if they're open. It also allows for pet detection so owners can monitor their pets from home. There's a new integration between Ring and Astro called Virtual Guard plus Astro for small businesses. Astro's cameras can alert virtual security agents. Actually, if you go further down, I think there's another situation about that.
That is a nice looking Alexa, though.
Yeah, it is like nice looking.
Do you have these types of products in your home, smart home stuff?
I do. I'll say there's more about it here. Scroll back down.
That's why they bought iRobot.
Yeah. Amazon launched its own consumer robot, Astro, at last year's hardware event. Astro is equipped with Amazon's Alexa digital assistant and can follow users around the home, but it's only available by invitation, and it will have a steep $14.50 price when released. So, yeah, that was weird. I was like,
I don't need them to listen. I get spooky about the couple Amazon Alexas I have in my house.
Yeah, I know. I get only.
There'll be times where we'll just be talking and we'll go, "What was that?"
Yeah,
and I'm like, literally nothing at all. Yeah. Nothing's going on here.
What was that? That was a plug getting plugged in.
Yeah, like nothing.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah,
they spook me enough as it is, but like having that robot follow me around everywhere, like
mapping out my head. Well, that's dude. This iRobot acquisition has so much behind it. There's so much behind that.
I forgot they bought iRobot.
Yeah, and it's not because Amazon wanted to get in the business of vacuum cleaners.
Right.
It's a great way to map out your house, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great way to map out your house.
It's a weird time,
to get
man.
everyone's floor plan connected to their Amazon account.
Yeah.
To suggest products, what you might need for all the rooms that they know you have. It's nuts. It's so deep. It runs so deep with Amazon.
We'll get to the point where they start suggesting renovations for your home.
Well, this thing's got a camera on it, doesn't it? This big robot that goes around your house.
Yeah. Could you imagine that? It's like, hey,
And those looks like your kitchen tap looks kind of old. Here's 10 of them on Amazon.
Yeah. Or it got to the point where it's like, hey, we actually have 5 numbers of local contractors you can call.
Weird. It's weird.
Couldn't the thing also contact agents on its own? Didn't it say something about that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it will connect the camera to a security agent. So someone can tap into it.
Yeah, that's so weird, dude.
There's an endpoint somewhere.
Gotta get that VPN, man.
Dude, VPN's the best. And they don't protect against everything, but they're pretty solid.
But it's like putting a lock on your house. It's kind of what that's kind of viewed as. It's like, it won't stop everything, but at least it'll deter some things.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Gee, well, thank you for another great show, and thank you for joining us. And it was great to have you guys all on. And whatever it is you're doing, whether you be, blowing up Nord Stream 1,
being followed by Amazon's robot,
or listen to Trudeau in a speech.
Truth.
Whatever it is you're doing,
wherever you are,
we love you.
We're out.
Peace.